Hey there, my name is Sebastian Frey, but my friends all call me Seb. You can please call me Seb too. I'm a realtor serving the greater San Francisco Bay Area. I've been doing this for over 17 years now, and this is the strangest real estate market I have ever seen or that anybody has ever seen. So, there's a lot of stuff going on, and I want to sort of bring you up to speed so you can really understand what it takes to sell your home during COVID-19. So without further ado, let's get started. This presentation is divided into 6 sections: current COVID stats and news, latest economic and financial data, current real estate market research and analysis, health and safety protocols that must be observed while selling your home during COVID, how marketing a home has changed in the COVID era, and what the future holds, right? We'll talk a little bit about what's coming down the road. So first, COVID stats and news. So the good news is there's over 400 different COVID treatments being developed right now, right? These are like therapeutic. So once you get COVID, they're going to treat you with some drugs that will increase the survivability rate, right? So 400 treatments, quite a lot of promising stuff going on in that space. And of course, multiple vaccines are being developed as well, and they are showing promise, right? Not only that, the mortality rate appears to be significantly lower than first thought, at least in California. So here's the current COVID stats and cases and deaths by state. As you can see here, the USA has almost 2.7 million COVID cases. That's more than a quarter of cases around the world, right? Very big. California, no shortage of COVID in California. In fact, in California, over the last 7 days, we've had almost 50,000 new COVID cases. So quite a bit of COVID going on here in California. Now I broke it down looking at several Bay Area counties. So Santa Clara County, total of over 4,500 confirmed COVID cases. Look at this graph right here, right? See this, right? This is when they eased up on the shelter in place. Boom, COVID shoots up, right? Same thing in San Mateo County, right? Here's shelter in place restrictions get eased and boom, COVID cases shoot up. Santa Cruz County, shelter in place down here, they release it, boom, right? Big jump in cases. COVID is still very much with us all throughout the greater San Francisco Bay Area, right? Far bigger than it ever was before. So, one key to beating COVID is doing testing, and we are getting better at doing testing. In California, we are now testing 2.4 people per 1,000 inhabitants per week, right? That's pretty good. We have about a 6.4% positivity rate, much better than in Arizona, which is doing 2 tests per 1,000, but they have a 24% positivity rate. So make sure you cancel your golf trip to Arizona this year, huh? All right, so basically, this is the new normal, right? I mean, like the drug therapies are coming, a vaccine is coming, right? But COVID is going to be with us for at least the rest of 2020 and probably a good portion of 2021 as well, right? So we can't all put everything in our lives on hold for that long of a time, right? The reality is we are going to be living with COVID, but we need to mitigate the risks and do everything we can to make sure that we stay safe and healthy, right? So like wear a mask, use hand sanitizer, wash your hands, right? Socially distance, right? But at the same time, life goes on. Now let's talk about the latest economic and financial data. So you may have heard in the news today is July 2nd, 2020, by the way, mortgage rates hit an all-time low, right? 3.07% for a 30-year fixed mortgage. That's the average. Many people are paying less than that, and of course some are paying more than that, but that is the lowest ever average rate for a 30-year fixed loan. So you probably also saw this today. There was a record gain of 4.8 million jobs in June, right? Smashing expectations. And the unemployment rate is down to 11.1%. So normally when they have this kind of report, right, these are new jobs that are being gained. But that's not the case here. These are people who are furloughed coming back to work, right? Not everyone, obviously. There are some new jobs in there. But mostly it's people who were on unemployment who have now gone back to work, right? So it's not quite as rosy as it looks from the headline. And in fact, if you dig a little bit deeper, you'll find out there's actually some very bad news in the jobs report. Last week, there was over 1.4 million people made a first-time unemployment claim. And in fact, for 15 weeks now, we've had more than 1 million people each week filing for unemployment, right? Very, very stark numbers. So here's a graph showing unemployment for the past 25 years. If you look at the yellow square on the right, that's where we are today at 11.1%, right? That's higher than it's been in the last 25 years. And actually, this chart if I could find the data on a chart, this is actually the highest unemployment we've had since the Great Depression, right? So for over 70 years, we haven't had an unemployment rate like this, right? Very, very high unemployment going on right now throughout America. Now here we look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and they're showing data for all the states. And I look at California. California in May, our unemployment rate, 16.3%. That is down from the high in April, which was 16.4%, all-time high unemployment in April of 2020, 16.4%. But the interesting thing is when you look down here, the all-time low was in February 2020 when it was 3.9%. What a difference a couple of months makes, right? The unemployment skyrocketed in California, right? Off the hook. So local unemployment rate, so I dug a little deeper, right? So San Jose, Sunnyvale, Santa Clara, the unemployment rate, 11.2%. San Francisco, Oakland, Hayward, 12.7%, and Sacramento, 13.6%. There are a lot of unemployed people here locally in the greater San Francisco Bay Area. Now, this is the stock market. This is a New York Stock Exchange, right? Back in mid-February, hit all-time high, right? And now here we are in end of June, right? Just below 12,000, right? So it's a drop of about 15%, but that's 15% from an all-time high. It's very important to pay attention to stock market data when looking at real estate markets here, because so many people in the greater San Francisco Bay Area, they get their big, huge down payments from their stock portfolio. If their stock portfolio tanks, they're not going to be as eager to put a gigantic down payment or buy as big a house or pay as much for a house as they would if they had swillions of dollars in their stock portfolio. So the bottom line is that unemployment is very high compared to historical norms, but mortgage rates are at all-time record lows. And that's because the economy is so weak. You know, when the economy is strong, interest rates go up because there's a demand for money. Right now, demand for money is very low. That's why interest rates are so low, right? But the good news is the stock market is still relatively strong, just down about 15%. So these are key metrics I think you want to be looking at right now to understand what's going on in our current environment here in the greater San Francisco Bay Area. Now, I want to dig into the real estate market research and analysis. So, Realtor.com, they came out with a report yesterday, the June 2020 monthly housing trends report. It's a national report. So let's dig into what Realtor.com had to share with us. So national inventory declined by 27.4% year over year in June. That is a huge drop, especially considering that June last year, there was not much for sale then either. Also, that the median listing price has increased by 5.1% in June. That's pretty amazing. And homes are taking a little bit longer to sell. The average is 72 days. That's up 15 days from June of 2019. But what's interesting is the acceleration of increase in home prices is jumped by 5.1% year over year in June. In May, it only jumped up by 1.6%. But the number that I like to look at is the price per square foot, and the price per square foot up 7.7% nationally in June. That's a big, big jump up. All right, but Realtor.com does actually break down the 50 largest metro areas, right? And so we can see here that actually the San Jose, Sunnyvale, Santa Clara metro area, we ranked 15th in terms of inventory dropping, right? New listings down 22.3%, active listings down 32%. San Francisco, new listings down 10.4%, and active listings down 17.1%. So big drops in inventory locally, according to Realtor.com. Do you guys follow Case-Shiller? I love Case-Shiller. You know, people talk about median home prices. Case-Shiller looks at resale home prices. So they look at a house that sold in, 2005, and when that same house resells in 2020, what was the difference in price, right? So they analyze individual home sales, and they take into account, like if you made an addition or an improvement to your house, right? They sort of normalize that data somehow. And because they do crunch this data like house by house, it takes a long time to get that report data out. So we only have data for April, right? But April shows a 4.7% year over year growth nationally in home prices. That's a pretty healthy home price increase when you're talking about coast to coast values. All right, now I actually have this nice chart right here showing the San Francisco metro area, right? So San Francisco and the 4 counties right around it, right? We can see here that according to Case-Shiller, home prices in the San Francisco metro area at or near all-time highs. And Case-Shiller actually breaks it out into tiers, right? Low price tier, mid price tier, and high price tier. And they look at data from January of 2020. So this chart shows you that in the low price tier, the index is 301, which means that home prices for the low price tier are 3 times higher in April 2020 than they were in January of 2000, right? Middle price homes are 2.86 times higher, and high price homes are 2.66 times higher in April 2020 than they were in January 2000. So quite a healthy increase, in that 20-year period. Now, here goes condo prices. Maybe you have a condo. Those were single-family homes I was showing you before. It's interesting. Like, here goes the bubble, right? The real estate bubble. And look how much higher we are today than we were during the bubble, right? So, all-time high prices for condos in the San Francisco metro area. So now let's look at counties, right? So Santa Clara County home price appreciation. So these charts are showing you data through late June of every year, right? So for all of these years, we're comparing January to June 25th of all these years. And here we can see high price, record high price in Santa Clara County in 2020. Same thing for Santa Cruz County, record high price for Santa Cruz County, right? And also San Mateo County, wow, some expensive real estate, record high prices through June 2020 in San Mateo County as well, right? Very, very high home prices right now, even with all the crazy stuff going on. So now let's look at some data from MLS Listings. MLS Listings runs our local multiple listing service, right? San Mateo, Santa Clara, Santa Cruz, San Benito, and Monterey counties are all included in the data that I'm about to share with you. Okay, so first we're going to look at new homes listed in 2019 versus 2020. So the blue line is 2020, the orange line is 2019, and you can see for most of this COVID time that the activity in 2020 has been far below 2019, except at the very last week or two in June, when finally the new listings in 2020 began to exceed a little bit the listings in 2019, but we still have a huge gap that we're trying to make up here. Now let's look at closed sales. Again, blue line 2020, orange line 2019. You can see that for most of this COVID time, the sales have been far lower in 2020 compared to 2019. But towards the end of the chart right here, you can see last couple of weeks of June, it's picked up quite a bit, and we're now not lagging very much, especially considering how fewer homes are for sale, right? There's a lot less homes for sale, but still we're selling almost as many as we were a year ago. Now let's look at pending sales, right? So these are homes that have not closed but have gone under contract. Again, for most of this COVID time, 2020, far less activity in 2020 compared to 2019, except at the end of the chart here, again, last few weeks in June, we see more pending sales in June of 2020 than in June of 2019. So the market is very active compared to last year. So again, new homes listed for sale, 2020 versus 2019. As you can see, for all of spring, March, April, and May, we have a huge deficit in listings, right? So there's not hardly any inventory available for people to buy this year in 2020. So if you decide to sell your home during COVID, the important thing to know is that there's very little supply right now, right? There's lots of demand driven by low interest rates, right? But there's hardly any homes for sale, which makes this actually a great time to market your home. So if you're thinking about marketing your home, I want to talk about what's different now compared to, say, the beginning of the year or the last 30 years before that. So the old way is that we would price your home to attract attention in a crowded marketplace, right? So I would always tell my clients, hey, listen, take how much you think your home is worth and price it about 2 or 3% less than that, right? And there's a couple of reasons for that. One of which is that, there's a principle called the price elasticity of demand, right? So like lower prices increase demand for a product, right? So that's true for real estate and many other types of products. The other thing is that many times when you think how much your home is worth, right, you're usually not exactly right. You're usually wrong, at least by a little bit. And when you're wrong, you usually think your house is worth more than it's going to sell for, right? So just correct that a little bit, I would tell my clients, and just price it a little bit below what you think it's going to sell for, because that will generate much more interest in the property, right? So more interest means more buyers, more offers, right? And you want to have the bidding war, sell over asking price, right? In order for this to work, you need to set an offer deadline, right? You don't want to put your house on the market, take your first offer that comes across the table at 2 or 3% below asking price, right? So you set an offer deadline and you say, hey, we're going to review offers in 10 or 14 days or a month or whatever it's going to be, right? And then you take that time between the time you list it and the offer deadline and you market the hell out of the property, right? You really go full bore and make sure the whole world knows about it, at least the whole world who might be buying your property. So you would schedule multiple open houses, right? You would have your brokers open house just for real estate brokers. You would have maybe sneak peek or neighbors only open house, and then public open houses, right? All with the goal of getting as many people through your doors in a short time, right? You want to get tremendous activity around your property, get a lot of buyers, slavering to buy that home, right? So you'd also, of course, be doing multiple private showings, right? So some people won't be able to go to an open house. You would also have multiple private showings as well. So after 10, 14 days or 30 days or however long your offer review period is, you will then review offers and hopefully you have a number of offers to choose from and you get those buyers competing against each other so that you get, overbids essentially and have it sell at the very highest price that the market will bear. That is the old way. The new way is that I advise people to price your home exactly at the expected sale price, right? Not high, not low, the exact price you think it's going to sell for. Now, in a crowded marketplace, it's really helpful to have like a lower price, but right now the marketplace is not crowded. There's nothing for sale, right? So people are going to see your home for sale really almost regardless of the price you put on it because there's nothing else to look at, right? So the thing is that they might not offer, right? They might not actually write an offer up. They might say, well, that house is overpriced, but they're at least going to see it, right? It's going to stand out because there's almost nothing for sale, right? So price it exactly where you think it's going to sell for because we can't be sure we're going to get a stampede of people into your house, right? These are strange times, right? So you want to have the right price and maybe you only get one offer and that's the price you sell it for. We're going to hope for multiple offers. We're going to work for multiple offers. But because of the way we have to sell homes right now, we can't be assured of that like we almost could have been in days gone by. Now, we're still going to market the hell out of the property. Actually, we're going to double down. We're going to do a much better job marketing your property, especially focusing on digital marketing, right? So we're going to do drone videos and photos. We always did before. We're going to make sure that we do a better job with them, right? Show the property in the most possibly favorable light we can. We're going to do Matterport 3D walkthroughs. Have you seen a Matterport 3D thing? It's like a Google Street View, but for the inside of your house. The person who's viewing the house can view your home on the interior from whatever angle they want to. Look up, look down, look all around. Very cool technology. And we're, of course, going to do professional video as well. The professional video will take them on a staged, preset path through your home. But it allows the videographer to create drama and excitement in a way that photos and that a Matterport 3D tour just can't. We're going to use all the tools we have at our disposal to make sure that your property is seen by as many buyers as possible so they can really get a feel for what that home is like and make them want to come and make an appointment to see it. So we're still going to set an offer deadline like we would have done before because, again, we don't want just one buyer coming to your house and making an offer, right? We want to have time so we can get at least a handful and maybe 10 or 20 people to come to your house, right? We're also going to do virtual open houses, right? We can't do real in-person open houses, but a virtual open house is very elegant. So the agent or the homeowner will stay in the house, will publish a date and a time for the open house, and they'll be there with their iPhone or whatever, and they will have people come in a virtual meeting room, and the people can say, hey, take me through the house. You can walk through your house and they can say, hey, could you open that closet door? Or can I see the room from that angle? Or can you go outside so I can hear the street noise, right? So that will let you have people come through your house virtually and experience it as best they can before coming to see it in person. Maybe they do, maybe they don't after they've attended the virtual open house. And we're still going to have private showings. This is going to be more important than ever. But the private showings that we're going to have, they're going to be pre-screened buyers only. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a second. And then after we've had all these private showings and virtual open houses, we will then review offers and hopefully have a good number of offers to choose from. So the differences are there's no real open houses in the COVID era, right? We do the virtual open houses instead and Matterport tours and video tours and great photography and drone video, all that, right? But the buyers who do come through your property, they are vetted, right? Everyone comes to see your house by appointment only, right? They can't stop by anytime they want to, even if the home is vacant, because they can't stop by when somebody else might be there. So all showings are by appointment only, right? Before they can get an appointment, they must sign the COVID paperwork, which says they don't have COVID, they've not been exposed to anybody, right? They agree to follow all the protocols while they are on your property, right? They must also provide a pre-approval letter, right? And they also will have to sign a disclosure package, and they'll also have to have indicated they've seen all of the online material, right? Because we only want people who are coming to the property who really want to buy that property, right? The last thing on the list is actually taking a tour of the property, right? Other than that, they're already sold on it, right? So our goal now is to have one offer per 2 people who come in your door. It used to be maybe that we would have 10 people through your door to get one offer. Now, because we're going to pre-screen your buyers, we're doubling down on our digital marketing. We want to make sure that when the buyers come through, they are already predisposed and ready to buy your property. The last thing is just that walk through the house, right? So you want to have one offer for every 2 buyers in this COVID market. So we've actually found that sellers prefer it this way, right? There's fewer strangers in their homes, right? Who wants to have like 100 people walking around your house, right? I probably would not want that, right? You'll have a lot fewer people coming through your house, but the people who do come, they'll be better qualified and more motivated buyers, right? Like who is a looky-loo right now, right? Who's just walking through houses for fun right now? Nobody. The only people coming through your house are going to be those people who are qualified and want to buy a home just like yours, right? Another great thing is we have appointments to show the property. You also have to be off the property by a certain period of time, so that way when you come home, you're assured that nobody's in there. So no more coming home and finding strangers like lingering in your living room or in the backyard or whatever. That's a thing of the past. So a lot of sellers actually find they prefer selling a home like this compared to the traditional way. All right, so how do we keep you and your family safe during COVID? So I got this from the CDC website, right, the Centers for Disease Control, and they're telling you how COVID is spread. So mostly COVID is spread person to person, right? So they cough or they sneeze or they talk or they breathe or they laugh or they do something. They expel COVID at you from their mouth or their nose or whatever, right? You can get it from touching surfaces, but that's not how it's spread mostly. Mostly it is person to person, okay? So consequently, when we are showing your property, nobody who lives at the property can be on site, right? You can't be in the backyard, you can't be in the front yard, you have to be off the property. Also, if you have any dogs or cats, they can't be on the property either. The property has to be completely vacant, okay? Also, like I said before, all visitors must sign a COVID form, right? They have to say they don't have COVID, have not been in contact with anybody who has COVID, right? All that stuff. They agree to follow the protocols, right? Okay? Also, you can have no more than 2 visitors plus their agent in your house at the same time, and the 2 visitors must reside in the same house. So you can have a husband and a wife, a father and son, or whatever, so long as they live in the same house and their agent. That's it. Nobody else. Maximum of 3 people at one time in your house. All visitors, of course, must wear a mask. Wearing a mask is very, very important. In addition to wearing a mask, they'll have to use hand sanitizer, and they should be wearing gloves and booties as well. Also, visitors must not touch anything, right? So even though you have put on hand sanitizer and hopefully latex gloves, you're still not supposed to touch anything. That's the rule. Also, the home should be aired out, right? So before the buyers come, the doors and windows should be open, and they should be left open for a brief period of time afterwards to make sure that as much COVID virus gets blown out of the house as possible. Also, the home should be cleaned after the visit. So the homeowner or the listing agent should go through and clean all commonly touched surfaces. Even though no one is supposed to be touching anything, you're supposed to go through with a wipe or like a spray can and spray down the doorknobs and countertops and other places where somebody is likely to have touched. Your safety is really very, very important to us, and so we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to keep you and your family absolutely safe. You might think this is kind of overkill, all this stuff, right? But we as a Realtor community are doing everything we can to protect you and your family to make sure that you can still, get on with your lives, sell that house, move on, but also be as safe as possible at the same time. All right, what the future holds. Telling the future is always very difficult, right? So, I'm going to do the best I can here, but let me just, tell you right now, I don't know what the future holds exactly. And, no one really does, right? I can tell you more for sure what the immediate future is, though. Like 2020, I think the conditions that are present right now with low interest rates, strong demand, and very low inventory, I think that is going to be with us for the rest of 2020, right? So if you're looking to sell your house in 2020, I think the market that we have today is probably the market that we're going to have for the rest of the year. The big question is what's going to happen in 2021, right? Because right now we have like PPP, the Payroll Protection Program. We have mortgage forbearance. We have unemployment benefits, right? We have cash grants to families, right? There's a lot of, fiscal stimulus going on right now, but it's going to sunset here towards the end of this year, right? So I think this year will be pretty stable, but I don't really know what's going to happen in 2021. And I don't think anybody really does. In fact, Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, says the recovery path is extraordinarily uncertain, right? He doesn't know, right? He should know. He has got no idea. Why should I know? Nobody knows for sure what's going to happen in 2021. So this is from Deloitte, right? So the Conference Board economic forecast for the U.S. economy shows that in the first quarter of 2020, GDP is going to contract by about 5%, right? Okay, annualized rate. Now, when they are looking in the future, they think it will be at least the middle of 2021 before we start to see any kind of strong economic recovery. And in fact, Deloitte is forecasting that GDP will drop over 17% in the first 2 quarters of 2020. That is a huge price drop. A huge drop in GDP. 17%. That's a ton of money when you're talking about the U.S. economy. Another thing is the exodus from the Bay Area, right? So this is from Zumper.com. Zumper.com is a website where you can list your home for rent, right? If you want to rent out your house, right? So Zumper.com is reporting that in San Francisco, one bedroom rental rates have dropped 11.8% year over year. That's a double-digit increase. That's a huge increase. And you say, well, what do rental prices in San Francisco have to do with my home value? And the answer is that high rent prices make people want to buy. If rent prices drop, they're less likely to buy. If they're less likely to buy, that means that real estate prices will drop as well. You might not live in San Francisco, but San Francisco is kind of like the tip of the iceberg, right? It all flows down from there, right? So if prices are dropping in San Francisco, you can bet they're going to be dropping on the peninsula, South Bay, further afield, right? So something to keep an eye on, right? Because people are leaving the Bay Area, right? Now they can work from home maybe, or maybe they're just fed up and they're done with it. They need more space, whatever it is. We may be looking at an exodus from the Bay Area next year. It's already starting to happen, but what if it accelerates in 2021? Nobody knows. What I tell people is that a bird in hand is worth 2 in the bush, right? Like, I don't know what's going to happen in 2021. Jerome Powell, chairman of the Federal Reserve, he's telling you there's tremendous uncertainty about what's going to happen in 2021. Could be something bad, could be something good, but I think that the downside risks for 2021 are a lot higher than the chances of there being an upside. What I do know is that right now in 2020, we have very low inventory, right? Very strong buyer demand and very low interest rates. There's a great chance that you will get multiple offers, sell your home quickly, and for record-setting prices right now, because we can see that's what's happening right now. But 2021 really looks very cloudy, right? I cannot tell you what's going to happen in 2021, but if I were a betting man, I would say that it's not going to be as good a year in 2021 as it is in 2020. Well, that's about it for my presentation. Listen, if you want to talk about selling your home in the COVID environment or any environment, I love talking about real estate. So just give me a call. You can call me at 800-489-8299. You can write to me at sebfrey@sebfrey.com, or go over to my website, sebfrey.com, and you find all other ways of contacting me through social media. Hey, listen, thank you so much for listening to my presentation about selling your home in the COVID era. I really appreciate it, and I do hope that we get a chance to speak again soon in person.